So I now have the privilege of introducing the Honourable Mitzie Hunter, who brings us greetings tonight on behalf of the Ministry of Education. Minister Hunter was first elected to the Ontario Legislature in 2013 as MPP for Scarborough-Guildwood, and she was appointed Minister of Education in June 2016. I would like to acknowledge and thank the Ministry of Education for supporting the college in its mandate to regulate our profession in the public interest through its work over the last year to introduce Phase 2 regulations under the Child Care and Early Years Act and the new Protecting Students Act. We also extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Education for its support of our second leadership pilot. We do value and support the ongoing leadership shown by the Ministry of Education and the Government of Ontario in modernizing our province's early learning and childcare system. Please now join me in welcoming the Honourable Minister of Education, Mitzie Hunter.
Well, thank you so much for that very warm welcome. Good evening, bonjour, bozo. It's a pleasure for me to join you here this evening, and before I begin, I wish to acknowledge that we have a very long history of First Nations, Métis, Inuit in Ontario, and I want to show respect for them today as this meeting is happening on their traditional territories. As you know, my predecessor, the Honourable Minister Liz Sandals, was here last year. How many of you were here last year? It's quite a few. And it is really with great honor that I'm here tonight representing the Government of Ontario and our Ministry of Education, and also our recently appointed Associate Minister of Education, the Honourable Indira Naidoo-Harris, who is bringing so much passion and focus to this role. And I believe it represents the commitment that our Premier has to this sector and how important it is to her. I see one of my advisors there, Dr. Jean, nice to see you. You're making sure we get it right. So it is great for me to be here on behalf of everyone today for your 8th annual general meeting. I want to say how much I appreciate the college and all of the work that you do. And I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the college's members across Ontario, and I know that there are those of you in this room, but there are many others who are watching as well, for everything that you do each and every day, and for dedicating yourselves to such a noble profession. Every time I visit a school, and I try to get to a school at least once a week, and I visit a child care center, I am struck by the dedication and the passion that early childhood educators bring every day to their work. Just on Monday, I visited Carson Grove Elementary School in Ottawa. And I was in a classroom of JK and SK students. And Carson Grove is a very special place because the population of that school has increased by a full third with Syrian refugees. Many of the students arrived not speaking any English at all. Some had never been to school. And it was wonderful for me to see the attention and the care to which our educators paid to those children. And every time I go into a JKSK class, I say hello to the teacher and I look around the room because I want to meet the ECE. And it's really wonderful because what I see firsthand is how they are working together as a team on behalf of all of our children. As early childhood educators, you care for our youngest and most vulnerable learners. You keep our children safe and supported. And you are the front line who are shaping our children and their promising futures. You do this with your expertise, your professionalism, and the care and compassion in which you do your work. But above all, it is your passion and your dedication and your genuine commitment to your jobs which shines through. So thank you again. Thank you for encouraging our children, supporting them, and giving them the best possible start to life. With a great head start, we are surely putting them on a path to future success. And speaking of future success, I think we can all agree that this is a very exciting time in the sector. Do you feel this excitement? I am very, yes, I think we should clap. I am very excited about what is happening in the sector. And I want to share some of the highlights with you. We know that early years are essential to the success of children, students, and the entire province. We know that the path to a brighter future begins right at the start, at a young age. And during those special formative years, when the right care, support, and education plant the seeds for their potential. And that's why ensuring quality childcare and safeguarding a child's development in the early years have always been a top priority for our government. For example, in 2010, we launched full-day kindergarten, and just last fall, full-day kindergarten had reached a major milestone, enrolling now more than 1 million students. Think about that. Overall enrollment has surpassed 1 million. That is a significant accomplishment. Probably at the beginning we weren't sure we could do it, but we did. And I want to thank you for helping to make this possible. Approximately 10,000 registered early childhood educators, members of your college, are an integral part of delivering this important program to some of our youngest learners each and every day. And your hard work and professionalism were essential to this groundbreaking transformation in full-day kindergarten. We couldn't have done it without you. So thank you. Last fall, our government announced a historic investment. Beginning this year, our government will begin to help create another 100,000 licensed spaces for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. We need to meet the demand of the growing and changing province and help more families find quality, affordable care. Right now, approximately 20% of 0 to 4-year-olds in Ontario are in licensed childcare. But that demand is higher. I know you know that. And that's why we want to double the number of licensed spaces for this age group and increase to 40% of Ontario's children under the age of 4. This will result in an estimated 20,000 new childcare workers across our great province. Our entire sector will need to work together on this historic investment. And by the way, we only have 5 years to do it. So it's vital that we tap into your experience and your expertise to make it possible. Once again, we are calling on you. To maintain this positive momentum and make this expansion possible, we will need a renewed early years and childcare policy framework. This will guide our future work, and that's why we've been asking for your help and holding consultations, engagement sessions, and town halls across Ontario. We also have a discussion paper and an online survey. All of the feedback that we receive will inform the ministry's renewed policy framework and expansion strategy. And that's why we need everyone's expertise, ideas, imagination, and advice, including yours. The survey, discussion paper, and more information can be found at ontario.ca/more-childcare. Isn't that great? More childcare. We want to get this right. We want to get it right. And we want to ensure that it meets the needs of everyone who is necessary to make it possible. People like you. Another successful initiative has been our wage enhancement grants. 2 years ago, we first introduced increased wages for registered early childhood educators and frontline childcare professionals in licensed childcare settings. And I'm happy to report that in 2017, eligible childcare program staff in the licensed sector will continue to be entitled to a wage increase of up to $2 per hour plus benefits. And the Home Childcare Enhancement Grant will continue to support home childcare providers working with licensed childcare agencies and provide an increase of up to $20 per day. These increases are about recruiting and retaining valued caregivers because we know that registered ECEs and program staff are vital to a child's development. As you may know, another important change takes effect on September 1st for before and after school care in Ontario. Building on the successful approach taken for full-day kindergarten students, school boards will also be required to offer before and after school programs for 6 to 12-year-olds where there is sufficient demand from families. And this will apply to every elementary school serving students in the primary or junior grades. We also see this as an important step in increasing access for this much needed service across Ontario and supporting a seamless day for families. As you also know, another major commitment that we've made is the creation of the Ontario Early Years Child and Family Centres. And this will involve integrating and transforming our child and family programs. These new hubs will provide a core suite of high-quality early years programs, as well as services tailored to specific communities. We know that this need exists. And I have to tell you, in my riding in Scarborough-Guildwood, the place that I visit the most are these early year centers, wherever they are, whether they're in schools, some of them are in strip malls, little plazas, but when you go inside, they are wonderful, wonderful places for families to come and to integrate, to be together, and for their children to learn. They are truly wonderful places, and I just want to thank everyone for the work that they're doing there. But many parents aren't aware of these existing child and family programs in Ontario, as wonderful as they are. And I have to say, sadly, when they are aware, some of them can't get in because there's such a demand. So we have to fix that. So for these reasons, we've also heard that parents want a common hub for helpful information for programs and services, and a place where they can get what they need in person or online, a place that's welcoming, easy, and convenient to access, no matter where they are in the province. However, we recognize that this represents change for existing centers. And that's why we'll ensure decisions are informed by those who know their communities the best. We also recognize the need for consistency between the opportunities available in early years programs, full-day kindergarten, and grades 1 to 3. So we want to maintain close relationships between the Ontario Early Years Child and Family Centres and local schools. We want this relationship to become more integrated. Ultimately, this is about helping parents, families, and children, and realizing Ontario's vision for a high-quality, integrated childcare and early years system. I also have a brief update on the federal government's pledge to create a national early learning and childcare multilateral framework. So the federal, provincial, and territorial officials have been meeting to develop a draft multilateral framework agreement. And a meeting with the ministers responsible is to be scheduled in the coming months to approve this framework. And for the 2017-18, $500 million has been committed by the federal government to support the establishment of a national framework across Canada. We're very excited about this. We're very excited about what the future holds for a national framework. And we'll continue to provide updates as we confirm more details about this agreement. So as you can see, we're on the cusp of great things in our line of work. With the many positive things we're all working towards, and we are, I believe, very fortunate. And that's because we're doing what we do each and every day for the children and the families of our great province. This is also a great privilege. I want to say, because this is something very simple. In your line of work, you have had a very real and direct impact on the many lives that you've touched. You know, I recall when the Premier first appointed me to this role, I visited a child care center in Ottawa, and I met a woman who, her job was to provide the meals. And she was telling me about two little children that met in her facility and how they had gotten married. And they did. They grew up, they met, they got married, but their children were now at the same center. And she was still serving those meals and making those children happy each and every day. The children that you support and that you nurture, the children who will eventually go on to pursue their dreams, the children who will make our province and our country and the world an even better place. So thank you again, because when I look around this room, I can say that you're making a real difference, a lasting difference. And your colleagues across Ontario, those watching, are making a real difference too, for yourselves, for your communities, and for Ontario. I think this is a testament to our shared commitment and mutual aspirations, because we're both working towards common goals for Ontario's children and families. So thank you again, sincerely, for everything that you do, because I firmly believe all children deserve a bright future, and all children deserve the very best possible start in life to make that possible. Thank you, and best wishes for 2017. Merci, miigwech.